The traditional medical approaches to OCD is medication. So this is selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors called SSRIs. I never had that as a kid. I used to have, if I used to have like panic attacks or calming attacks, I used to have lavender oil. So I was very used to having lavender oil, and I used to sniff that, or I had like what they were called Bach Remedies, and that used to calm me down. So I used to get stressed at school and have panic attacks, it was called. But it wasn't, it was just like if I didn't get something right, I then would really stress about it. Other antidepressants or anti-anxiety medications is what people usually recommend, and usually prescribed by a psychiatrist. Again, I never went to a psychiatrist, but I did get assessed a few times because accordingly when I was at school I was answering questions not how they were written down. So for example, as a child, when someone says, what do you do with a knife fork, the idea is you would say, I use it to eat my dinner. My answer was, I use it to give to my mother to wash up, or my father to wash up. See, so it's like, because to me the obvious thing was you eat with it. So again, OCD is your attention to detail is very unusual for most people. The other one is traditional medicinal approaches is psychotherapy. So this is cognitive behaviour therapy, which is about the way how you work cognitively about how you have a therapy or how you do something. And you can do that with going with timeline therapy and change that and find out where it's linked to. Exposure and response prevention, which is called ERP, and that's another one is to exposure. Say, for example, that's where people have fears or something, and it's actually getting them exposed to that and then learn to control that and control that with breathing. And group therapy sessions. Group therapy sessions with OCD people is actually probably a nightmare, I would say, to most adults, because if someone's very individualistic, they can't stand actually being around a lot of people. And that's where they have agoraphobia, or they fear the fear of being alone if they're on their own. That's why a therapist, it takes a lot of time to work that out. And also I'll be discussing that next week when I'm talking about the differences between narcissists, psychopaths and sociopaths, because that's also interlinked with that as well. So the other side as well is, when we look at this, is one of the things which I dealt with as a kid is lifestyle approaches. So your lifestyle approaches is modification. So it's regular exercise and physical activity stops a lot of OCD, because once you actually tire yourself out, or you actually get to a point that you actually don't worry about things, is because you get to the point that you're not so concerned about it. Your adequate sleep and consistent sleep schedule. One of the issues I had as a kid is that I didn't sleep very well. I was always thinking of things, writing, coming up with ideas, whatever that is, and you work with that all the time. Stress reduction techniques, again, that's where I teach that a lot with meditation and pranayama or breath work, and learning how to do that with breathing work. So I got to learn that when I was about 7 or 8, and that used to help me out a lot. And limiting caffeine and alcohol, and that's one of the reasons I don't drink alcohol very often, and I'm very rarely. I think I've drank twice this year of 2024, and probably won't drink much at all this year. And also caffeine, don't have caffeine in my diet. And